up some more. Cincinnati show, it's time to play. Sports with strawberry ice today. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. CTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's pure delight. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Feel the crowd, it's electric now. Shouting loud, they all know how. CTV got what we crave. Sports with ice, it waves and waves. Tigers strike and Bengals roar. Every game we want some more. Tune it in and feel the thrill. Strawberry ice, he's giving chills. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's pure delight.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, Iceman Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of my new location. I'll be doing on Friday nights at 6:30. Millions Cafe at Mount Lookout Tavern. Join me and Harrison, the comedian. He'll be my special guest. We're going to be there. Well, I'm going to be there each and every Friday with hopefully some Bengals guests, some Reds guests, and some really interesting people there. Have a lot of fun. Like I said, their graphic they made for us. Join us every Friday from 6:30 to 7:30 for a live recording of the Sports Strawberry Ice podcast. Each week we have a special guest. Exactly. And of course I have the cat. See, the cat knows when the show starts because she starts coming downstairs and running around my... Really? And you knocked out my cord. I can't hear myself talk now. Hold on, guys. I got a cat running around my feet. She pulled the cord out of my headphones. Silly cat. Anyway, we'll be doing that each and every Friday. So, some news of the day, as long as the cat doesn't knock stuff over. Injury report. We got Orlando Brown as questionable. T. Higgins questionable. B.J. Hill questionable. Charlie Jones doubtful. Actually, T. Higgins is doubtful. Sorry, can't see. I think this is good. Good as far as the chance of Orlando Brown and B.J. Hill playing. Jay Morrison said it live on the show last night that he thinks there's a good chance that they'll play. We'll find out. Short week. And, of course, Jackpot Joey, the FedEx Ground and Air Player of the Week. The cat is pulling my cord out again. Anyway, great start to the show. Let's get to my first guest. He is alive all the way in California. I like to refer to him as the godfather of Bengals podcasting. He's none other than Anthony Cosenza. AC, what's going on, brother?
How you doing, man? You're a man about town doing shows, live venues, and all kinds of different stuff.
I'm trying, and I'm down here in the ice game, which I'm not down here much anymore. I got this stupid. No, not stupid. I love my cat, but the cat is running around the feet and trying to knock stuff.
We gotta get you some wireless ones, I think, buddy. We gotta get you some wireless ones.
That might be it. Well, I got lights over here too that she's trying to play with. So yeah, and I'll have a little squirt bottle that I usually. Hey, stop! It's over there in the chairs. Anyway. Well, you are not the only guest I have today. Surprise, surprise. We have my former seat neighbor. He's from Bengals and Brews. He's my boy. He's Dale Altman. Dale, what is up?
What's up, fellas?
Long time no see, man.
Well, it hasn't been that long. It's like, what, last week?
Yeah, I miss you already, though.
That's fair.
Yeah, sure. So what's up? How are you guys feeling this week? I mean, I just did the injury report. Orlando Brown is questionable. Who else is question? I got to bring it back up there. Off the top of my head, I'm forgetting already. But got a lot of questionable guys.
BJ Hill.
BJ Hill's questionable. Yeah, those are two questionable ones. To me, questionable seems like there's a fairly good shot to play since they didn't play last week. What's your guys' thoughts? Go ahead, AC.
Yeah, first of all, good to be with you guys. And Dale, it's been a hot minute, man. Good to see you. I know, good to see you, man.
Nice to see you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I think Zach Taylor sounded like he was pretty optimistic about BJ Hill playing. They thought that injury was a little more severe initially than it actually ended up being. So he would be a big boost but he's been real streaky, right? He had that huge game against the Giants, and then he's kind of been, hit and miss a little bit. So they need to, there's the cat.
Yes.
They need to get, they need to get him. Yeah, they need to get him in on some big plays this week. The Higgins thing, the Higgins thing is to me just such a bummer because I thought I just thought, hey, they were resting him for the Raiders game with the plan of, it being a short week and everything and him coming back. And obviously that whatever he did to his quad is a lot more serious than we initially thought. So there's not a lot of big names on the, there's not a long list of names on the injury report, but between Eric All now being out for the year, Zach Moss being out for the year, and then you've got some big names on there. You just got to hope that Hill and Brown can go. Maybe by some miracle, Higgins will too.
Yeah, Dale, what you got?
Yeah, I'm not holding out any hope for Higgins just because doubtful to the Bengals almost seems like out. It's
right.
Like
That's why I say Orlando Brown and BJ. Yeah, Orlando Brown, BJ, but I think they're going to play doubtful. You're not playing.
And I think Orlando would be big. I mean, yeah, Cody Ford did good last week, but Orlando was playing at a Pro Bowl level, all-pro, almost level for much of this season. So having Orlando against that defense is always going to help you, and that defensive front and the things they're going to throw out there because they got a ton of guys they can throw at you with Owe. They picked up Yannick Ngakoue. He's actually every year they pick these guys up, after the season starts and get something out of them. But yeah, hopefully BJ can go the D-line rotation. We didn't get that trade. I was very upset.
We got a running back, but
I was wanting the old man. I was like, give me Calais Campbell.
I just wanted a pass rusher. Just give me a pass rusher. That's what I wanted. I'm like, God. But, I mean, I was talking to Jay Morrison last night. I said, I'm always trying to look at everything with the brighter side. At least they traded for somebody. But he's like, well, it's somebody they had to. I was like, well, they really needed another pass rusher, and they could have got one, but whatever.
They could have stuck with Travion and Kendall Milton. They didn't have to get a running back, but it's more of a Zach Moss replacement with him going on IR, which sucks, especially in pass protection because that's not really what Herbert's done. Like I looked at his grades from the past couple of years, even before this one, he has like 2 pass blocking reps, so you can't really judge him this year. But the 2 years prior, the 2 years prior, it was in the lower 50s. So he's not really known as that guy. I mean, maybe he'll give you something. Travion got absolutely blown up. Chase Brown, that's just not what he does either. So this is somebody who can give you something in that department. But I think he's just a good to have as another guy because you don't want to run Chase Brown nonstop. He dinged up his shoulder. It looked like he had a stinger in that second half. And if he would get dinged up or something, you really going to rely on Travion or Kendall Milton as a rookie. So I like getting the guy who's done it in the NFL. I think that's good.
Yeah, like I said, it's not a bad move. I would have liked them to, like I said, add it to the defense. I've been calling for that all freaking year. I was doing Max Crosby, which I thought was a pipe dream anyway. And to be honest, I kept throwing it out. I was hoping. I was trying. But I want to ask you guys' opinion. Chase Brown last week, and me and Dale talked about this, we didn't think they needed to run the ball up the middle a lot and be effective at it. And they actually were against the Raiders. And Dale, you and me talked about on Friday's show that you thought that was be a concern that they wouldn't. And I don't know what the snaps or what it is, but it looked like 90% of them were up the middle. And I was surprised by that, how good the Bengals did with Chase Brown there.
Yeah, it was nice to see. I mean, he had definitely a breakout game for him, like 120 yards rushing, 37 receiving. I wonder where the receiving's been. I know Zach Moss has gotten a little more of that, but we know that Chase Brown, just get him the ball, get him out in space, check downs, whatever. He can make stuff happen with the ball in his hand. So I'm excited. He's definitely running back one. Khalil Herbert's not here to take anything from him, but it's just, to share a little bit of the workload. So I think it'll be good for both guys, honestly.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of a desperation thing to get Herbert in the lineup and make the trade for him, but I also think there's value there because I know a lot of folks probably look at Chase Brown and his what'd you say, Dale? 157 yards from scrimmage last week, and 30 plus touches or wherever that was, and say, okay, he can be a week to week thing. Well, that's a real small sample size in the NFL, and I don't know. Granted, do you want to hang the hat on that? And it was against the Raiders and all that kind of stuff, or do you want to?
Yeah, the Ravens' defense is a little different than the Raiders.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Well, they're number one against the run.
Yeah.
The Ravens.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's you can still split. You can still have it heavily favor Chase Brown in terms of touches, but still split and have some effectiveness there. I like the move. I like the addition, but I do think that Brown has definitely earned himself, that top spot. And man, when he sees something right when he gets the ball, he's pretty decisive, and it's usually a nice initial burst, a nice initial gain, which has kind of been missing. I mean, you saw it once in a while from Mixon, but Mixon also kind of did a little bit of the Le'Veon Bell type, patient, wait for stuff to develop sometimes too. So it's that decisiveness and that initial burst. That's a nice thing to have in this offense.
Now, maybe AC or Dale, you guys might be able to answer this more better than I can. Well, Brian here says, why not Chase Young? What happened with that?
I don't know how much they were in on an edge. I mean, because we heard Rossini say they were looking for a D tackle late in the deadline. So I don't know. I think Ojulari was a guy that they were interested in because they seen him do it against them in New York. And the Giants were just like, I think they wanted at least a fourth, And
we can't give them a fourth. We've got one of those draft picks.
Duke Tobin was not giving up a fourth for a guy they would also have to extend and pay and factor in. They've got guys like P.J. Hill, Mike Hilton, Henderson's extension. I mean, I don't make excuses for them spending money typically, but bringing a guy like Ojulari, if he would come in, he's got 6 sacks on the season and play like he's been playing and end up with double digit on the year. You're going to let him walk? I mean, maybe you get a comp pick back for him, but not if you're really trying to improve the team. You can't count on comp picks either. So I think it was just too much draft capital to give up for me personally. Is why
there's a few guys whose names were floating out there, and they didn't go anywhere else, right? No. So, I mean, it's not just the Bengals that didn't want to give up the draft capital. And I said this on our show a little earlier that, for me, that the frustration isn't so much why aren't the Bengals willing to give up day 3 picks or that sort of thing to get these rental guys that may push you over the hump. That is, I get the source of that frustration, but for me, I think it's more, okay, if you're going to keep those picks, then why are you not packaging those picks more often and moving up for a true premier player? Why are you not maneuvering in the draft? Why are you not hitting more on those plays? If you have a track record of consistently, bringing in these 6-round guys that are studs and all this kind of stuff, okay, well, I can understand that. If you have a track record of packaging, holding on to those picks, packaging them and moving up into night 2, earlier in day 3, that sort of thing, and you kind of get a guy, hey, that's a nice role player that we picked up, whereas, some of those might have been throwaway picks later in the draft, then I'd understand the mindset of we're going to hoard these, right? They don't really do that. It's been a little more frequent with Zach Taylor. They don't really do that. So that's kind of where my frustration is. It's not so much, it's like, well, if you're not going to do that, then do this. And sometimes they don't do either.
Right.
I was going to say, I think almost the bigger concern, because, I mean, yes, we want to see moves and you got these holes, but they probably wouldn't have these holes if they'd be more proactive still before the season, filling out the back end of the roster. That's a problem. Like Calais Campbell was setting out there. We're all like, why don't you get this guy? You can play him on the edge some. You can play him inside. He gives you some pass rush. He's a veteran guy. He knows what he's – very veteran guy. He's 38 years old.
He's old.
But he's still doing very well. He's still in the top 25 on true pass sets for rushing the passer, and he's solid against the run. So, but it's just – fill out the back of the roster, don't rely on the draft picks, whether you use those or you move up something. You shouldn't have to roster 10 guys and they're inactive. You've got McLaughlin, who's a 6th-round pick, who's been inactive all season. Mm-hmm. How does that help your team this year?
Yeah. And additionally, it doesn't even have to be March signings in that regard. It can be guys after the draft, after your spring workouts. You get to look at some of these guys in spring workouts and you go, hey, we like what we see from a lot of these guys, but we may need to bring in, some of these guys may not be ready right away. And so just bring in some of these veteran rental guys to fill, like you said, Dale, fill out the back side of the roster, or plug in here and there. And hey, if the rookies end up shining more in training camp,
right,
you go, hey, cut your losses.
Exactly. I know Dale's talked about that I would have liked them to add more depth to the offense and defensive line in general, at the beginning of the season. But with that being said, how impressed were you guys with the way the offense was last time? I mean, Joe Burrow is playing at an MVP level, and they did what they did Sunday without T. Higgins, and that to me is the 3 games up until that point before he's played, the offense looked like crap. Sunday they looked unbelievable. Now you say against the Raiders, but the Raiders' defense line isn't. It's not like they're garbage.
Their
not,
secondary was top 10.
In
passing yards. At least.
So it's a good defense that they won against and put 41 on them. Well, how impressed were you guys with this? And do you think this is the stepping stone to get this offense hopefully at a consistent level?
You go ahead, AC.
Go ahead, AC.
Burrow just seems dialed in right now, right? I mean, he just seems dialed in and playing some of the best football I think I've ever seen him play. I hate to be the guy that nitpicks or whatever, but the very few turnovers he has committed this year, they are borderline catastrophic. And so
the pick six,
he had a fumble in the one.
That was a touchdown. The interception against the Ravens. I mean, you can count on the turnovers. On one hand, maybe have fingers left over, but I mean, it's like the few that he has had, they are just monumental plays.
Yeah.
And so when you play against these quality teams, you just cannot do that. But that also comes with him sort of being asked to be Superman in a lot of these games. He's going to force one. There's going to be a miscommunication. There's going to be something that happens. So they just really, I know turnovers happen. He's not going to never throw an interception type of thing, but against these quality teams, you just got to watch out for that or be able to weather the storm of them a bit better. But I mean, right now, I think he's playing well, obviously getting the ground game going last week. That was a big deal. If they can just find balance, I'm really interested to see how they're going to line up personnel wise without Eric All now.
That's a bigger loss than T not playing, I think, because he does so much on the 12 personnel. Because when he's out there, you don't know if it's a run, you don't know if it's a pass, because he can do everything. And we lost that. We don't have that. I mean, we had the tight end god. We have Drew Sample. So he's gonna have to step up a lot more.
But on third downs is Drew in the backfield, because they still, like I said, Herbert wasn't that pass blocking kind of guy, and you saw a lot of Drew Sample last week. So you can't have him on the line helping your offensive tackles on these third and semi longs if he's in the backfield as kind of the running back that's blocking.
It's going to be interesting, like AC said, how they attack this, because I don't think they're going to be able to run as much as they did last week. Ravens, like you said, they're number one against the run. It's going to be extremely hard for them to do that. So, and with Eric All out, Gesicki had a huge game. And I think he's really going to have to step up even more because T's out, because All's out. He's going to be a key player in this game Thursday night and moving forward with the tight end situation. And Tanner Hudson, I love that dude, but he's got to make catches. He's dropped more balls this year than I think I saw him drop it all last year.
Yeah, and like Gesicki, I mean, I was shocked to look back in the snap count, and he only had 36% of the snaps, because All went out at the beginning of the second quarter. Now, I know, we were able to run the ball, and I'm sure that affected it, because we all know Gesicki is not a blocker. He is basically a slot wide receiver is what he's best at. And I would like to see him get more of that even when T comes back. But this week, they got to do what they got to do. And against a team who's 32nd against the pass, first against the run, I expect Gesicki to be out there maybe 70% of the snaps for the offense this week. And a big part of what they're doing. Jermaine Burton, if he can stay awake and be awake for the game, who knows?
Show up on time. No call, no show.
It's a night game, I don't know if he gets tired. I mean, maybe that's his time to shine, though, right? Maybe he stays up late and then misses the early morning stuff. So
there you go. You're thinking positive, Dale. I like it.
Bet the Jermaine Burton anytime touchdown, boys. It's happening this week, all right?
There you go. So what was you guys, just because you brought Jermaine Burton, And you come back to say that I'm defending Zach or whatever, but Zach's always some people say he's not a disciplinarian, yada yada yada. Of all games, for him to not even dress Burton when T. Higgins is out, and this was a big miss for him. I mean, he could have had some plays in this game because they needed him, and for Zach to not even dress him, say, dude, you're done, you're out. To me, that's Zach is more of a disciplinarian than people give him credit for, I think, just because of that alone, because that hurt the team. I mean, they didn't need him, but we didn't know that at the beginning of the game.
Well, it's the right move. I mean, if you listen to guys talk about it, if you see whatever you want to make of that clip on the bench between Burrow and Burton in that game and all that I'm sure you guys have seen that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, whatever you want to make of that. If there was an exchange there, or Burrow was just heated about how the game was going, and like I said, just super dialed in. I mean, Hilton has made some pretty poignant comments about the situation. Mm-hmm. I think you let that slide. That doesn't sit well with some of those guys, right? I think even if it's like, oh, you're sitting the first quarter, we saw a lot of that. Granted, there were a lot of good things that Marvin Lewis did in his time with the Bengals, but we saw a lot of that. Oh, you're sitting the first quarter, but you're too valuable. So, whether that was with Henry, whether that was with Odell Thurman or, Vontae, I don't know. All these guys.
I think Chad, there were some things with Chad that always do the.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's the right move, and it's, I mean, as tough as it is, and granted, the Bengals were fortunate to just still throttle the Raiders without him, and him being a big part of that plan. So, I think it's the right move, just sending the correct message. And I think I would hope that most of the fans agree and or understand that.
They should.
Yeah.
You can't just no call, no show to a walkthrough. You got to show up
the day before your biggest opportunity.
Right? Yeah,
that's part of the game plan.
That's the thing. He's not only screwed the team, he screwed himself, dude. Like, because they needed him, and they need him Thursday. So hopefully he's a factor. I mean, and I
saw that he was getting on the plane. So step one,
yes,
he didn't miss the flight.
He's on the plane. All right, that's good. We can confirm that. But I'll go back to what AC talked about, and this meme went wild on Twitter or X, where Joe is fist bumping Zach, and they're like, oh, somebody put out there, oh, he's done with Zach. I'm like, I don't know about you guys. I looked at it as Joe is super focused. He's done with this losing crap. He's trying, and you see that the game he had 5 touchdowns, almost 400 some yards, however much he threw. He's super focused, and even at the end of the game, they're like, oh, he threw the game ball back, or threw the game ball back. Because the stuff he missed. And he just and the end of the before they did the Who Day chant, he's like, guys, get your shit together. We got a short week. We got to focus, because he knows they've got to win. If they don't win Thursday, it's going to be difficult. But if they win, you're 2-1 in the division, and you're back to 500. It's still a huge game. So that's where I took this ass. Go ahead, Dale.
No, I was agreeing with you. It's definitely a huge game, and everything can be in front of you getting this win, and you feel real good if you can get it. Now, it's going to be tough in Baltimore. We always play them on Thursday night in these primetime games, and that's a little brutal. But yeah, with Joe, I do think maybe there is some frustration with Zach, but I don't think that was the whole story of him being mad. It was the whole offense, and he expects perfection out of himself more than anything else. But I do think maybe there's some frustration with Zach or the players or whatever on getting play calls in, getting substitutions in quicker. I do feel like, because there's been a couple weeks in a row of that, and I do think that there's a little of that he's like, hey, you need to have your shit ready to go.
That's it. He wants everybody to tighten up, because they're in such a hole, they can't screw this stuff up. We're in November. They should be able to get the plays in and out and get in and out of the huddle with no problem. You should have that down by now. AC, what's your thoughts?
I think part of that is you've got some new personnel now in the game. For so long, you had a Tyler Boyd who knew the system in and out. You had you kind of had some linemen in there. You've still got some veteran linemen, but you do have a new one in Mims. You've got new running backs. All this kind of stuff, right? I mean, there's some new faces in there, and that comes with that. But there's nothing more maddening than burning timeouts when you're on offense and you're at home. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's super loud and there's bad communication on the road or whatever, you say, okay, if there's one of those a game, that's still too many in my book. But if you have those every once in a while on the road, you go, okay, I guess I can understand that, particularly against a quality opponent with a loud stadium, right?
Right.
At home, when you're throttling a team, it's pretty inexcusable to not be able to get things in on time and lined up correctly and that sort of thing. So I hope that they get that ironed out, because again, the Bengals are playing here and there some pretty good football. I would say last week was probably their most complete performance, still missing probably 10 points on the board and, all kinds of different stuff, but probably the most complete performance of the year. And you cannot do this kind of stuff against the Ravens in Baltimore, against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. You can't make these kind of mistakes. So, and in terms of the gravity of the game, I'm in agreement with you guys. They can still do some things to make the playoffs if they lose this one, but not only for legitimacy reasons, but the whole offseason preaching has been about, you got to get the AFC North wins. You got to get AFC North wins. They had one last year altogether. I think you at least need to split with the teams this year, each one of them, in order to, and maybe even get the second one against the Browns if they continue to struggle, because you just need the wins.
Yeah, you got to win, and that's the funny thing is, and I am not going to take credit for this, because Jay Morrison brought this up on the show last night, and I did not like he brought this up, but he's right. 1 year ago, we played Thursday night in Baltimore. Joe Burrow's last touchdown pass, hurt his wrist, was Joe Mixon to take the lead. I mean, we were winning when he was there, so that gives you hope. But it was a year ago that he or around, I don't know the same date or not, but around the same time that he hurt his wrist. So, and the thing is, like, and I'll bring this up to you guys. I brought this up to Jay. It's also a year ago that after Joe Burrow got injured, and at the end of the game in the post-game show, we heard the Baltimore fans going, "Fuck Joe Burrow, fuck Joe Burrow." Do you think that? I mean, that sticks in my craw because I'm a Bengals fan. Do you think that's something Joe's going, all right, we'll see? Well, yeah, you think it's it, or he doesn't even pay attention?
I'm sure he's seen it. I'm sure he's going to downplay it. I'm sure he wouldn't say. Now, if they go out there and they win, I'm sure, and Joe's feeling pretty good about himself, I'm sure he'll be like, "Oh, I heard it," and admit it. But I definitely think that he heard it, or it got to him. Somebody shared it to him. Wait, put this way. I know. I tagged him on Twitter about it. I don't know if he saw it or not.
I guarantee you he knows about it. I guarantee you it's motivating him this week. And I guarantee you, if the Bengals, and it is, I don't want to say a big if, but it's a somewhat big if, because it's an if the Bengals win. And if he were to be asked about it, I bet you his answer would be something akin to, "Yeah, I may have heard something. I may have heard a little something about that." I don't think he would. I don't think. If you know him, he'd be like, "Yeah, I may have heard a little something about that. I don't know."
I might heard something about that.
Meaning, he wouldn't outright say yes, and he wouldn't bring it up himself. But I'm sure he knows about it though.
It'll be interesting. Now, another guy for me, and I know Dale and you guys talked about this on Bengals Brewers, I think last week. That's got to figure out how to get some separation somehow is Yoshi. He's I love the guy. He's disappeared the last couple weeks, and now T out, because I mean somebody put out there our reliable receivers. Who was on there? Somebody put a comment there. Besides Gesicki and Chase, who are reliable receivers. I can't find the comment.
Yeah, we can't call Jermaine Burton reliable, but we're hoping to get something out of him, right? Because he's a guy who
we'll get a catch. We'll get one catch for 40 yards, right?
Yeah, we'll take it. Right now, I'll take that. I want more. Like, just don't throw a back shoulder pass to him because they'll keep going straight.
But I think Yoshi has proven this year that his best role is like a wide receiver 4 or 5 on your team and a red zone target. Like, going forward, he's not a T replacement. He can't
get separation.
I wouldn't rely on him as my slot wide receiver going into next season. And when T comes back, I want to see Gesicki in the slot more than Yoshi, to be honest. I want to see the 3 of those guys out there more and see how that looks. But also, hopefully, Jermaine Burton can do the right things and get out there, because that is something too. And I mean, yes, you're trying to win games now. You've built this hole for yourself. You can't be like, well, next year and going forward. But it would be nice to be able to do both things, right? To see what you have in Jermaine Burton by him playing more, and also hopefully win some games in the process and make the playoffs.
Exactly. Now, correct me if I'm. Oh, go ahead, AC. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm trying to remember. Did Yoshi have a touchdown last week?
Yeah, he the one diving in that he just barely crossed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This is his only catch, I believe, though.
Yeah, but you guys are right. He was a ghost for the previous couple of weeks before that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and so he's got to figure some stuff out. I think we all had kind of high hopes for him, and I'm just wondering how the backs. You guys talked about the run defense of the Ravens. Maybe a little bit of a struggle, not only gaining yards on the ground, but now selling the play action without Eric All in there.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, screen game swing passes to the backs, is that going to be a little more prevalent just to kind of mix it up a little bit? Maybe even get the dump off passes to get the ball out a little quick. I don't know. Herbert has had some catches, and he's got a couple of touchdowns receiving in his time. Brown has shown he could be versatile, so I'm curious to see how that all works out.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, I'm not giving up on Yoshi. I just think he's got to start. He's got to start making some plays, and some of these he's got to get stronger hands because he's there. Some of these plays, it's tight window. Joe throws it there, and he's not coming down with it. Those are the ones he's got to make those.
Yeah, I will say that Joe kind of underthrew / didn't get enough air on the one when he kind of had the guy beat, and he had to kind of wait on it, and the guy got his hand in there, and then he drew a flag on another one downfield that got us down to the 7. So.
He had a better game Sunday than he had past couple weeks.
Yes, it was a little better, but yes, he's not been doing enough. Period. Not for a guy who's enough. Your third wide receiver, but with T missing so many games, he's wide receiver 2. And I don't know if you talked about that, Jeff, but man, I was fully getting myself back on board after just being like, no, you can't re-sign T, to being like, you got to re-sign T. Look how explosive the offense is. Look how much it opens up.
The same way.
Jamar and him. I was getting back on board, and then boom, injured again, missing multiple more games. Yeah. And I don't think there's any way you can even tag him a second time at this point.
Well, the funny thing is, I was talking to somebody at the store about this, and they're like, well, do you think he's doing this because it's a contract year? I said, wait a second, you think he's missing games? Because I always try to save himself. Like, for what? I said, not playing is hurting him. So there's no way in hell he's sitting these games out. He's actually legitimately hurt. He can't play because this is not helping him. That's the one thing, not only the Bengals, but every team is going to say that, well, you've missed this many games in this many years, so that you're not out there. And this year, I don't know how many he missed last year, but he's missed a lot this year. Seems like more this year than in recent past.
This will be at least, 4 or 5?
I think it'll be the fifth one.
I think it'll be his 5th game if he misses this one, because he had 2 with the hamstring, I think, and then this would be a 3rd in a row.
Yeah,
yeah. It's I hesitate to say this, but T is a tease in a good way, right? Tease is usually labeled as somebody that doesn't give you something, right? But he gives you something on the field, but then he also is a guy that opens things up when he's on the field for so many other guys. I think Dale alluded to that a bit, and that's really the dynamic I think this offense misses the most. It's not so much, he makes the catches and he brings us, a catch radius and all kinds of stuff, but it's the opening up of other things for other guys and elevating their game that you just miss. And so it's like, man, he's such a valuable asset when he plays. There is now it used to be 2 games a year, maybe 3 games a year. Now the last couple of years, we're talking we're getting into half a dozen territory. And so it's like, how do you, he's so valuable, but then there's so much time that's missed now. And you go, I don't know how to balance that.
I still want to sign him. I'll put that. I still want to sign him.
I do too.
I was about to say, I think no matter who signs him, whether it's the Bengals or another team, you almost got to try to put some playing time escalators in there for how he gets his money.
Right.
You'd be dumb not to just, to give him $100+ million guaranteed and then be like,
that's the thing is,
5 years.
I don't think he's going, because of how many injuries, and maybe I'm wrong. Some team could be crazy, and David Mulgeta, I think, is one of the best agents out there to get his players the most money. But because of that, he might not get as much as he was thinking. So with that being said, is there any chance that maybe he might be like, all right, Bengals, let's sign a 1-2 year deal so I can prove that I can be healthy and get the money then? I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. I don't know.
I don't think so. Like, I can't personally see that just because, like, we did see what Malagueta was able to get Calvin Ridley, who came off like a suspension, you know.
Well,
so,
he got Deshaun Watson, who was suspended for a year and a half. And,
both of those guys, he got that ridiculous.
No,
so I imagine T will want the security of like a 4-year. And somebody, Jacksonville to reunite with Trevor Lawrence, somebody's going to give him a lot of money.
I can see Tennessee.
The only way a rental or short-term deal would happen with T. Higgins that would be heavy escalators, all that kind of stuff, would be in a scenario in my mind that would not work out well for the Bengals this year, which is he misses a lot of time.
Yes.
And if he misses a lot of time and then he goes out there and tests the market and the market's softer than he expects because he has missed so much time, that's a scenario where I could see there's a short-term incentive-laden deal. But even so, we know what the madness is in March with free agency. We know teams will go, they'll overpay, they'll overspend, blah, blah, blah. And he's a he's a guy who's valued across the league despite the missed time. So it's kind of just you're going to have to get the risk, whether you're the Bengals or not. You're going to have to pay for the risk that comes with him.
And I'm just wishful thinking. I love T. I want him to stay with the Bengal. I've been saying that forever, but I've come to the point where he's not going to. But just in general, with him trying to get in our contract, this is going to hurt him moving forward. But like you just said, David Malagueta somehow gets these big ass contracts for his players, and that's why the players sign them or as their agent.
I don't want to be spending first round draft capital on another wide receiver.
The Bengals actually do a good. That's one thing they do a good job of is drafting wide receivers. They do. I know they got Jamar Chase in first round.
You lose T and you got to spend a first round. I would just.
I don't think they will though.
Give me a pass rusher, baby. I need a pass rusher so bad.
Yeah, I don't see that
anywhere.
For me now, this is draft, but I don't. Even if T leaves, I'm confident enough in the Bengals scouting department because to get a second or third round wide receiver that could be hopefully, and that's with hopefully Burton
without
stepping
red flags,
up. Without red flags would be nice. Yeah, I think because they have. I mean, just look like they got T at the beginning of the second round, but let's go back to the past. They got Chad Johnson and T.J. Houshmandzadeh, and they were not first round picks. So I mean, they've gotten these guys before. It's happened.
Marvin Jones, 5th round, Sanu, 3rd round. You can find guys.
They can find them. So and the Bengals have proven that's one thing they have proven that they can do consistently is find wide receivers. Pass rushers, on the other hand, that's why I'm like, take the first round pick and go get me somebody to team up with Trey.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. At some point too, it's just like with this quote unquote championship window that a lot of people talk about with this team. Do you want to keep chasing your tails and letting good players go, and then just? I mean, I know you can't keep everybody. It's just you know who your stars are, and if you let them walk, and then this team has bigger. It seems like bigger roster holes than 2021, 22, right? And so if you're going into next year, let's just say the Bengals, for the sake of argument, I hope it's not the case, they don't win the Super Bowl, and then they've got a lot of different things to address. I mean, then you let T. Higgins walk, and then you're using a second-round pick on a wide receiver when you probably need to look at cornerback again. You probably need to look at, there's all these spots, pass rusher, Dale mentioned. I mean, I don't know. There's that whole chasing your tail thing in the prime years of Burrow that makes me a little nervous letting good guys go.
That's the whole reason they couldn't re-sign Jesse Bates. I thought was to take the money to sign T. Higgins. That's what I thought, but apparently not. And they're apparently we're let T go. So I agree with you wholeheartedly there. I would rather than.
Well, and that was how I talked myself into being all back in on keeping him. Was that same argument, Anthony? Was don't let a top 5 player on your team walk out the door, because DJ Reader, he had a lot of injuries too, but he was a top 5 talent on this team last year as far as what he could provide for this team. Jesse Bates was a top 5 talent on this team. When you lose those guys, they're so much harder to replace. And T. Higgins is a top 5 talent on this team. It becomes how do you pay them what they're worth? And DJ to me was way easier to keep because he didn't get anything crazy. I think T's going to get so much more. Is the only issue, because they got to pay Jamar too, and it's hard to pay 2 wide receivers what those guys will probably get open market wise.
Exactly. Now, Paul here, he's asking, isn't this the last year of Trey's contract? No, he signed a 2-year extension over the summer.
It's the last one that's going to matter because they're going to have to extend him if they want him to play, I imagine.
Well, no, he's got another contract beyond this year.
Yeah, he's got another year on it, but he already won the reward last year.
Well, I mean, and that wasn't happening.
I can't imagine he'll play, or he'll hold out, or he'll do something if they just try to keep him where he's at.
Let him play it out. Play it out of the lame duck year,
But guys like Hilton, BJ Hill, how do you let Hilton and BJ Hill leave either?
I don't want to. I mean, the thing is, like, if why am I blanking on his name? The our number one pick last year that just tore his ACL. Safety, they'll turn into cornerback. Why can't I think of his name?
Dax Hill from a few years ago.
Dax Hill.
A couple years ago.
So a couple years ago. So Dax Hill, if he had shown, or he was showing he could be a cornerback, I was thinking he was eventually going to be Mike Hilton's replacement, maybe if they drafted another corner. But now with Dax coming back from an ACL, and you never know how that's going to turn out, to me that makes re-signing Mike Hilton even more important. Even with Mike Hilton's age, he is getting older. He is one of the older guys on the team. But you see some of those tackles he was making Sunday. I mean, he was hitting, dude, and he loves tackling King Henry. He loves tackling that dude. For some reason, that little dude goes in there and just blows him up. And that's the thing going into this game. The last time we should have won, we kept Henry down. Derrick Henry did not go off on us, except he didn't have a big run except for that last one that counted. You say, well, it counted. We couldn't stop when it counted. But for the most part, we kept him in check.
I think he was averaging like 2 yards per carry or something like that prior to that.
It was Lamar and Zay Flowers. That's what killed us, to be honest, in that game. So that's where, but that goes back to where you, me, Dale talked. Pass rush helps the secondary, and that's where we got to get. Trey's got to have a big game. He has to have a big game, and hopefully Miles Murphy. I think he's getting better, but I still want some more out of him. And I know Jay Moore said that Joseph Ossai was getting praised from Lou, which is cool. I want more pressure on the quarterback, though. We need more. We need more, and those are the only two guys that I think are on the roster that could potentially help out Trey.
It's going to have to be Murphy now that they didn't make a trade. And, he is the second best guy with all the advanced PFF metrics and stuff like that for pass rush productivity and everything like that. So I think Murphy can give you something, but they're only giving him still around like 30% of the snaps. So
why is that, I wonder?
He's getting a lot less than
Sam's still getting that many snaps?
Sam's getting around 50 to 60, and I like that number for him. And Sam's played really well since they've gone to that number for the past few weeks. So I think, and Sam's valuable too as a run defender. But that's why it's not a knock on him. It's the pass rush we need, which is the guys like Ossai and Murphy that we need.
Yeah, our run defense is better than I thought it was going to be. Go ahead, AC.
No, this week is a Hubbard game, right? He's going to play contain. He's going to be outside on the edge with Lamar. I mean, we've seen this year in, year out. That's what they try and do with the edges in this game, and then they'll try and sprinkle in the blitzes up the middle, that sort of thing, and see if Lamar can do something either with his arm or with his legs. Unfortunately, his passer rating, whether you blitz him or not, is pretty outstanding this year.
Yeah, I saw that.
The Bengals have their hands full for sure. But I think you're going to see a lot of Hubbard. I mean, he had both big plays the first game. He had the safety and all that kind of stuff, but he also had that. He couldn't bring Lamar to the ground on that one play where he was grabbing at him all the way to the sideline. Yeah.
Just got for your stiff
arms.
That's
got to be like the worst feeling in the NFL to be out on an island with Lamar Jackson. Honestly, it's terrifying.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Do you think they put up, because they didn't do it last time, but with the way Lamar is passing the ball, and that's one thing I kept saying. I want to keep Lamar in the pocket and make him pass the ball. He's gotten a lot better at passing. If they're able to get pressure on there, do they put a spy on him? And if they do, who is that?
I like the way Akeem Davis-Gaither is playing, and he's done it before, but it's been a while. But in general, I like the way he's playing. But I don't know if they put a spy or not. What's your thoughts, AC?
I'm interested to see what they do between Hilton, Jordan Battle, and they had DJ Ivey out there last week too. So DJ Ivey and Jordan Battle were both on Brock Bowers. Ivey had a pass breakup that actually was a penalty, and then Battle had a couple. He had a bad rep and a good rep, but I'm kind of interested to see what they do with the safeties that are in and out. You're seeing more Battle and less Bell as the weeks go on, and so I don't know if one of those guys makes sense. I think ADG makes some sense. I don't know. I'm I'm curious to see what they do on that. I don't really have a good answer for that.
Because the way Lamar's playing right now, he's going to play good. I mean, regardless, Lamar's going to play good, and this is going to have to be a Lou Dini bend don't break game, I think. I mean, and this is a game too where the best defense is a good offense, long sustaining drives. Which one thing this team has done, and Jay Moore's had an article about this, is they get off the slow starts, as the season goes. But games right now, they are clicking on all cylinders right off the bat. And I've noticed that more this year than ever. And it's not just quick hitting passes, but it's long drives. I mean, the Eagles game, we had a long 10-minute drive. I mean, that's what they need to do in this game too, is long sustaining drives. Just keep Lamar on the bench.
Yeah, because chasing that guy around is going to wear your defense out. So the less they're on the field, the better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, it also, you potentially assert some form of dominance. Again, though, the more I hate to say this way too, because he's playing so well, but the more you're asking Burrow to throw 40, 50 times, there is that propensity for that one turnover that could be crushing.
It's happened a couple times against them, last year and this year already.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I think it's another big game for Jamar Chase. Raven Killer is what I know they were calling him last year, and he's had some pretty big games against them. They're going to need him, but it's going to be harder with T not out there. But Jamar can do it. So AC, are you still in your garage?
I am. I just had a light turn out on me.
I saw that. all of a sudden, we had dark mode Godfather.
You know what? They're like these fluorescent tube lights. And I think I got these nice LED ones, but I didn't realize. I think they have a safety measure that at right around 45 minutes they click off for 10 or 15 minutes. So every once in a while I gotta bow out and I don't. Anyway, it's a whole deal.
AC was all of a sudden going dark on us. Oh, it's the Godfather.
Yeah.
You've been very bad to the Godfather. You don't like this.
He's about to have a talk with Jermaine Burton on it.
Exactly. So
no more gambling.
Exactly. No more gambling. When are you getting your man cave back? Are you stuck in the garage for a while?
Well, that's just where it is now. I had to lug all the stuff back here. It's all behind me now.
You live in? Good thing you live in California, because Dale's in his garage, and here in about a month and a half he'll be freezing his ass off in there.
Well, you guys get garages and basements. We don't have basements out here.
I'm in the ice cave, so I'm in the basement.
I don't have a basement. I wish I had a basement. I would love it.
Yeah, I don't get those.
Yeah, well, like you said at the beginning of the show, next week I'm only going to be down here twice. I got 3 shows.
Oh, wow.
That's other places. So
what happens when you're as famous as Sports with Strawberry Ice, baby?
Yeah, I'm not Godfather famous. I mean, that's the real superstar there. All right, so AC, what do you guys got going on at Cincy Jungle? What do you guys you got any new interesting articles or any cool interviews?
Yeah, we've been pumping out a lot of stuff, and we just talked to TJ Hushmanzada this week, so that was pretty fun. We had if you check that out, we actually asked him about Burton, and his answer was pretty entertaining. So we had him on. We had Sam Hubbard on a few weeks ago. We had Eric All on right before the season, and we were really pulling for that guy and just heartbroken.
He was playing
what happened
great.
to him.
Playing great.
Yeah.
It was.
But and then just kind of doing our thing.
Yeah, the thing that scares me about Eric All is with Eifert being our ruler of the jungle. He was the ruler of the jungle, and Eric All gets hurt, and I'm like, damn, we're gonna go through this again. We have a really good tight end, and he can't stay freaking healthy. I'm like, oh, that's what I was worried about.
Same knee too. It's like, man,
that's even worse. Yeah.
And he's had a back. He had the back before he had the ACL. So the kid has gone through it injury wise, and that's got to take a toll on you at some point too. And he plays so aggressive and physical.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of aggressive and physical, the meme of Trey Henderson blowing the tackle up for the Raiders was he just ran his ass over. That's the thing. Like if TJ Watt did that, or Miles Murphy did that, or not Miles Murphy, Myles Garrett had did that, the national media would be like, oh my God, this is the greatest defensive player in football. And Trey does it, and nobody says anything except Bengals fans. They're like, yeah, I just wish Trey would get more love from the national media than he does, because he is up there with those two. I mean, those two are, you said, are above him, but he's right there with them. I mean, why do you guys think he doesn't get the recognition that I think he deserves? Is it because he played in Cincinnati?
I don't think it helps, but I don't know. He's just he's not a big, I don't know. He points to the sky, he does his thing, but, he's not all over the media. He's never got that attention. He doesn't seem to be the type to seek it out. I think that matters too, and TJ Watt comes in with JJ as his brother, a great player. That's already going to shine a big light on him. Myles Garrett was a number 1 overall pick. Trey Hendrickson's a mid-round guy. So that the draft pedigree, the name of those guys, obviously you're going to get more attention than a guy like Trey. But Trey just goes out there and dominates as a passer.
Dustin's got a comment here for you. Trey Hendrickson destroys another former Ohio State player.
I think the draft status plays a lot into that.
Yeah.
That was the whole Joe Thomas, Andrew Whitworth thing, if you remember that. It's like both those guys were awesome, but Joe Thomas being, what was he, number 2 overall?
I think number 3 overall, and Whitworth was the second rounder.
Yeah. So I think that plays a part of it, as does a number of different things. But it's kind of where he was drafted and all that kind of stuff. I don't remember offhand, but Trey Hendrickson reminds me just a lot of like Jared Allen. Just the style of play, the power, the motor, all that kind of stuff. The big stats, and I think Jared Allen was maybe a 3rd or something round pick, and I think that's where Hendrickson was too. There's just a lot of
Jared Allen was more into showboating himself. I remember him doing a story in the end.
Yeah, lasso, right?
Yeah, lasso, and he was interviewing the players in jorts or something like that, like freaking Daisy Dukes shorts or something like that. Like that Trey doesn't do that.
Hendrickson was a 3rd rounder, which is what we thought, but it was pick 103, so it was basically a comp pick. It was a comp pick.
Oh, well,
he's basically a 4th round guy. That makes a big difference.
Yep. Yeah, but I mean, he's playing like a first round pick, and that's where
he's a first rounder in our hearts here in Cincinnati, for sure.
Exactly. All right, AC, I'm gonna let you go on that. I know did you leave? Actually, did you leave your show early to come here? Because I told you didn't have to do that.
No, we were doing a short one. We've got a big week, so we did it's with the short week. We did one Monday to recap the Sunday game. We had the interview with Hushmanzada that dropped Tuesday. And then we had another show today to preview the Thursday game. So, we just kind of did a lot. So we went a little shorter.
Hush is awesome. I actually got to meet him when Corey got in the Ring of Honor. And, man, I heard some stories that I cannot tell. And it's killing me, dude. I'm like, I wish, but I can't.
I've heard bits and pieces of those.
I can't tell them. So, but Hush is awesome. Hopefully, one of these days he'll come on my podcast.
It was nice to see AC because we do our shows at 3:30 on Mondays and Fridays on Bengals and Brews, and I can never have you on because it's just West Coast and brutal.
We try and mix it up, and I try honestly not to. I try and be conscious of. When a lot of the shows are going live, but unfortunately,
it's impossible, man.
It's impossible. Well, my show, I would do different live shows. So the Monday show's at 5:30, Tuesday show's at 6. Then I got the Wednesday show that I didn't do this week, but it's normally down at Newport on the Lake. That's today. That's at 4:30. Thursday's at 5:30, and then I'm doing the Friday show. That's at 6:30. So I'm like,
that's gonna be like these streamers where they just have like the 24-hour marathons.
I just go find where Ice is. I had to put AC up in the front.
Truman Show, man. You just start being on here all the time.
Yeah, I'll be. I had to put AC up. I'll take the pretty face. I had to put him out there.
Oh God,
I know. I missed it. I hadn't seen it in a long time.
And don't see the sunlight in the background. It's like God shining light on him. Like, ooh.
Well, now I need the thing to flicker back on. I need the light
perfect time.
Right, exactly. All right, AC, man. Plug some more stuff or I'll let you go, man. I appreciate you.
Just Orange and Black Insider. We're on the Believe in Cincy channel. There's a couple of other shows on there with some other folks, and just Cincy Jungle, all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys. Let's not be strangers. I know we've got a lot going on, but Dale, good seeing you. It's been way too long, and Ice, both you guys keep up all the awesome work you do.
You too, man. Who day? What? Wait, I'm bigger than you. I gotta fix that. There, that's better. I know we're the same size now. That's better. So, did you guys do a show today? You didn't do one today, did you?
No, we did one Monday, and we talked about maybe doing one, but it's just a lot. We've been doing Monday and Friday, so we're just like, we'll stick with it. And then I thought, maybe we'll do one before the game, but I think I might do one with you again tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna do. Yeah, it'll be ice brewed days.
I'll just do that. Maybe I'll just share it. Maybe I'll just share it to our channel so it goes out more.
You can do that. See, I told you I'd get you back on Friday. You're like, well, I can't do Fridays anymore because you got something else. I'll get you back on.
He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do Fridays. You want to do Friday shows with me? And then he goes and gets another live show on Friday.
I can't help it. They want. Hey,
so popular.
Not really.
No, but I enjoy it. It's nice to come on here, and I don't have to control everything. So
I know what's that like?
Having that, yeah, it's nice to have that little.
It's nice you can sit there and just chill and not try to read the comments, and click on this and click on that, and yeah.
Yeah, I can let you do everything, and I can just talk about.
Well, so last night, the funny thing was last night, they were doing a show at Moorline, and I haven't figured out how I could hear what goes out on the internet. I could hear what goes on in the restaurant. So everybody in the chat's going, we can't hear you. I'm going, what? And my wife's getting on the phone, sticking it up to her ear, trying to listen. Like, I can hear it. What are they talking about? So for like the first 20 minutes of the show, I'm trying to figure out why they can't hear. So then I clicked my own self off the show. Well, I can't do that because the way it's set up, I mute everybody else. So then they couldn't hear anybody. Like, well, now we can't hear anything. I'm like, oh, crap. Like,
that's the joy of the live shows. Every now and then, you don't know if something happens. You're just like, okay, you're trying to figure all this out while I'm live.
Well, then today I start the show, and the freaking cat comes down here, yanks my headphones out of my ear. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on now.
That just wanted attention, man. That cat was like, no, you're gone all the time doing your shows. You're home. It's my time.
You're gonna hang out with me. Exactly, you're gonna hang out with me. All right, Dale. Hey. Let's do this again tomorrow and go follow Bengals and Brews, man, and chopping and Greg and all that stuff. Because you never know what Greg's going to do on Bengals and Brews.
Tomorrow we'll be on here, I believe, at 4:30, right?
4:30, yep. 4:30 tomorrow.
Be on here at 4:30. We'll preview the game a little more, talk about – I know Isaiah Likely's out for them. I don't know if you mentioned that at the beginning.
Did not.
I was on. So they don't have that weapon. Mark Andrews has played a little better, but it's still not been the Mark Andrews we're used to, and let's keep it that way.
Yes, that part. Let's keep it that way.
Very good tight end. But and Isaiah Likely's a big weapon for them. But they got Deontay Johnson now, so we'll talk about all that. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff tomorrow.
Exactly. All right, brother. Hooday. Love you.
Hooday.
All right, guys. As always, hope you enjoyed that much. That kind of cut Dale off a little bit. But I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, we'll be live. Me and Dale will be back here live tomorrow at 4:30. I'm doing it at 4:30 because I'm going to Westside Brewery. They're having a trivia night, and it's one of my favorite movies. It's Spaceballs. It's trivia night starts at 6, and then the Bengals game is at 8. So I'm gonna go dominate in trivia. Actually, my son and daughter are probably gonna be better at Spaceball trivia than I am. I'm the reason they like the movie. I love Spaceballs. They'll probably be better at than I am. So tomorrow will be me and Dale at 4:30, and then Friday night we will be at Millions Cafe. Me and Harrison the comedian. It's at Mount Lookout Square. We'll be starting the show at 6:30. So make sure you guys show up there. 6:30 to 7:30. I said we'll have special guests. Like I said, this week it's gonna be Harrison Butler. There's a chance I'll maybe take care of the show sometime. Sammy Cure. I don't know. There's other stuff I'm working on over there because those guys are pretty close around there. But yeah, join us each and every Friday at Millions Cafe. And do me a favor, when you go to Millions Cafe, if you've never been there, it is a cool freaking bar. It's been there since God knows when. It's a cool bar. It's like a West Side bar to me, but it's an East Side thing. Do you ever go there and say, if it's the first time you've ever been there, go there and tell them I sent you. So they know that, we're getting people out there and get people there. So make sure you guys join us there. And, of course, not this week, but 2 weeks. Join us at the Mercedes-Benz of Fort Mitchell at Memorial Lager House, the pregame experience. 3 hours for every single home game. I keep telling you guys, it is the best deal on the banks. 2 of the greatest words in the English language. Open bar. A food buffet. All you can eat, all you can drink for $75. You cannot beat that. Now, if you are going to your own tailgate and bringing your own stuff, I can't beat that. But if you're going to the banks and you want to go down to different bars and all that stuff, you're going to spend more than $75. Come one place. We got a DJ. I do a pregame, about a half hour, 45-minute pregame show. Then it's parties on. $75, open bar, food. It's delicious. Make sure you check out. Get your tickets at Moorline Lager House on all their social media platforms, and you can check it out. It's on mine as well. And like Like I said, we did this last night. And we are at Moreland Lager House each and every Tuesday from 6 to 8. Happy hour starts at 3, goes till 9. What does that mean? That means $5 drafts, house wines, and well drinks, and $2 off appetizers. Also, it is prime rib Tuesday night. So you get, ooh, that looks delicious right there. $29.95, you can get yourself a delicious prime rib. So join us each and every Tuesday. Now, Wednesdays, today, I normally am at Newport and Levy, but they did the show on Monday. So I will be back there at 4:30, Newport on Levy, right before Fox 19 crew records Bengals Now. Kane Taylor Britt shows up. Orlando Brown shows up. This past week, Yoshi was there. So they're not going to be on my show. They'll be on Fox 19, but show up early. And I'll have some cool guests, and we'll have some good time getting ready to watch Fox 19. Shout out to all my sponsors. One of the newest ones, Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Check them out for all your landscaping and lawn needs. And also, snow removal. If you got a business that you need a snow roof, give Priority a call. Also, Midwest Best Barbecue. If you've not checked it out, why the hell not? Get out there. Wards Corner Avenue. Tell Tim and Nicole I sent you. Also, you're looking for some new windows and doors? Check out Meyer Windows and Doors at www.myerscincinnati.com for all your window and door needs. And my West Side Peep. Go check out Hail Marys. It's your ticket to the game. Big ass TV screen, beer specials, food trucks. It's an awesome, awesome time. Other than that, I think I'm going to get the heck out of here. Yes, Paul, it's a great day to be American. I agree. Who day? Other than that, I'm going to end it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Remember, we're going to start at 4:30. Me and Dale, we're going to do a preview of the Ravens Bengals game. I'll put it to you this way. I believe in my heart of hearts the Bengals are going to win this game. Joe Burrow is more focused than I've ever seen him. He's in jackpot mode. When he's in jackpot mode, he's dangerous. This team Sunday played the most complete game of the season. I got in so many arguments and yelled at last week. You know, I kept saying this team is consistently inconsistent. They were consistent, and there were still plays out there they could have made. They played that good. They didn't play better than that, but they at least play as good as that and improve upon what they did last week. The Bengals are going to win. And like Jay Morrison said, the Bengals win Thursday. He said if the Bengals win Thursday, he believes they're going to the playoffs. I say the Bengals win Thursday. I say we're going to the playoffs. Book it. All right, that's just sports, baby. See ya!